Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're tackling a topic that literally everyone is facing, but honestly, kind of gives most of us a bit of low-level anxiety. We're talking about the 100-year life, drawing on some really fascinating insights from Wired and data from the Hakahodo Institute of Life and Living. We're going to explore a completely new way to positively frame living for a century. We aren't just talking about health tips to live longer. No, this is about rewiring our brains, completely shifting our mindset so we can actually enjoy that long journey.
Let's kick things off with a pretty blunt question. If you lived to 100, would you be happy? Be honest. Because when most of us hear the phrase 100-year life era, we don't exactly jump for joy, right? It usually brings up this vague sense of dread, like, am I going to have enough money? Will I be healthy? Or, the really scary one, am I going to end up totally alone? If you're feeling that way, trust me, you are absolutely not alone. That anxiety is totally valid.
But here's the thing. Today, we're going to completely flip that pessimistic assumption on its head. The whole core of our explainer today is bridging the massive gap between our super dark expectations of aging and the surprisingly bright reality that the data actually shows. We're going to use hard facts and some incredibly cool psychological concepts to dismantle those negative myths about getting older, piece by piece.
Section 1. Negative assumptions about longevity. Let's look at how our cultural attitudes are literally shaping our expectations of old age.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer, overwhelming contrast in the data. When asked, do you want to live to 100, nearly 67% of people globally said yes. But in Japan, that number plummets to just 21.2%. It's incredibly low, right? It turns out, people in Japan are uniquely pessimistic about living a long life compared to the rest of the world.
So why the fear? Why is there such low expectation in a country literally known globally for its longevity? Well, researchers point out that cultural background plays a massive role here. There's this cultural tendency in Japan to hold back on openly expressing personal happiness, constantly worrying about future risks before they even happen. And all that worrying? It's basically artificially darkening our view of the future. We're psyching ourselves out.
Section 2. Happiness rises from the 60s. Is reality really that grim? Spoiler alert. No, it's not. Get ready to feel a lot better about your future.
Have you ever heard of the globally recognized U-shaped curve of happiness? It's a real thing. Basically, human happiness starts pretty high in our 20s, and then it systematically drops, hitting rock bottom right around age 50. Classic midlife crisis, right? But here is the amazing part. From your 60s through your 80s, happiness shoots right back up. And rest assured, Japan is absolutely no exception to this rule. The second half of life isn't a slow decline. It's actually packed with a built-in systemic rise in joy.
To really help people feel this bright future reality, Hakahodo and Takaratami actually teamed up and created a literal board game. It's called the 100-Year Life Game. The brilliance of this game is that the goal line is your 100th birthday. But to win, you need to collect well-being points. And guess what? The game is rigged so you earn the massive bulk of those points after age 75. It's a genius metaphor and a tangible tool perfectly designed to correct our pessimistic bias by stacking the best rewards at the very end.
And it totally works. Players shared that their image of longevity completely changed after playing. They suddenly really wanted to live longer. Think about that. Just by intentionally shifting our focus to the positive events waiting for us in our later decades, we can actively rewire our brains. We stop dreading the clock and start looking forward to it. It's a hugely powerful mental workout.
Section 3. The perspective of gero-transcendence. Now, let's slow the pacing down for a second, because we're about to dive into the intellectual, philosophical heart of this whole explainer. Why exactly does happiness spike in our 60s? The answer lies in a concept called gero-transcendence, proposed by Swedish sociologist Lars Tornstam. Basically, it's the idea that as people cross into their 60s, they begin to detach from typical social norms, like materialism and worrying about what society thinks. Instead, they become highly altruistic. They start feeling this incredibly deep, almost cosmic connection to the world and everyone in it. So aging isn't a decline at all. It's more like a philosophical upgrade to an entirely new worldview.
Let's move to and see how this builds step by step. First, you step away from societal expectations. You stop caring about keeping up with everyone else. Second, you embrace deep altruism. It becomes less about me and way more about doing things for others. Finally, you experience the world as a completely renewed self. This mindset evolution perfectly explains exactly why that happiness curve shoots straight up in our later years.
It's like shedding a heavy coat you didn't even know you were wearing.
Section 4. New happiness born from connection. Let's look at the cultural mechanics of how we actually pull off this late-stage happiness together.
Check out this fascinating paradox in the data. When asked, only 35.1% of Japanese people felt their country's future was bright. Pretty bleak, right? But when asked if they'd want to be reborn in Japan, a massive 75.3% said yes. No way, right? They see a rough economic road ahead, but they overwhelmingly want to stay exactly where they are. What is going on here?
Kyoto University researcher Yukiko Uchida has a brilliant framework that completely solves this mystery. It comes down to where you think happiness actually starts. In liberalism, happiness starts with individual freedom and personal success. But in communitarianism, which is huge in Japan, happiness starts with the community. It starts with networks. The simple act of belonging to a group is the absolute starting point for joy.
What this means is that communitarian happiness is all about the network within a specific space. Even if there's extreme economic anxiety, people are super reluctant to abandon their connections. The drive isn't, I want to escape and be happy by myself. It's a deep, deep desire to say, we want to be happy together. And honestly, that's not a weakness at all. It is an incredibly resilient survival mechanism for getting through a 100-year era.
So the crucial point is, well, it boils right down to this concluding thought from the research. If community is the starting point of happiness, that changes everything. It means our game plan for a long, happy life isn't just about saving money or eating kale. It's about how we interact with the people around us.
It means that feeling the happiness of others, really, truly tuning into it, is the absolute ultimate survival skill. Think about everything we've covered. The board game rewarding late-stage life, the U-shaped happiness curve, gero-transcendence, communitarianism, all these threads weave together to prove one massive point. Our absolute best years are fueled by shared joy.
100-year life isn't something to dread. It's essentially bonus time to be altruistic, to connect deeply, and to be happy together. So, look around you right now. How can you find your own happiness in the well-being of someone else today? The second you make that shift, your 100-year life instantly gets a whole lot brighter. Thanks for exploring this incredibly important mindset shift with me, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.